August the 23rd, 2025. Guys, much cooler today. We were still about 105, I think, heat index, but we've seen the 120s. And this coming week, it's for the southeast, every day supposed to just about get cooler, almost a breath of fall coming in, if you would. And it's very welcome after the summers we get. Guys, and what you're looking at is one of the latest images from Comet Atlas. Now, there's two or three Comet Atlases out there, and you can tell this one because it does not have a tail. This is the one they call 3I, and it's the third interstellar object in our recorded history. You know, of course, many would have come by when many of us older people were very young, and they would have not been detected at all. So we really don't know how far it goes back, but the third one that's been noticed. And it has been doing some strange things. And I'm going to point out a couple things that are just coming to the forefront, and we're going to take a look at that. Now, this is one of the latest images of Comet Atlas. This is the I3, or 3I, third interstellar object. But we've seen a couple of decent ones. Both were from the big telescopes. But this one, once I ran it through my computer, and I did the same thing with Comet ISON, that's how we knew it was going to do what it did, was the fact that it appears to have no tail. And people will say, well, what about the light out in front of it? Well, if you look at there's two more Comet Atlases that are flying around. They get the word Atlas because the Atlas telescope discovered them, and then they have different numbers. And you can, if you look at the comet page or the space weather page, you can see all of the different comets. Again, the other twos will have tails that normal comets have. And one of the things that Avi Loeb is talking about, he's the astrophysicist, I think, from Stanford, guys. And he's been on he just was on MSNBC or CNBC or one of the other ones, and he's been with Paul Begley. He's been on a couple of webinars with us. Anyway, his latest information has come out that this thing has a forward-emitting light. That's the latest thing as it gets closer that they're talking about. So as we look at this, you see it looks like it would almost have a comet tail out here, right? But that's the front. This is the back. And when I ran this through my computer, this was much darker. Now, this is, again, the back of the comet. The comet is moving up and to the left this way. And that's why Avi Loeb is saying it has a forward-emitting light. Not necessarily like a headlight, but it may be part of the drive network. Could be nuclear, according to him. And I guess it would be being nuclear like that, it may be a turbine situation to where there is light in the front. I don't know, but that's what he's talking about. And that's very interesting because of this one and the picture that I did from the Hubble Space Telescope as I ran it through my computer maybe a month or so ago. Anyway, this is not a tail, and it would be much longer and very clear, right? And it's not from the image smearing because they're taking exposures, right? This was taken from a video, a moving video, this particular still shot. So it appears to have a forward-emitting light. That would explain this. Why the back, I don't know what that is we're looking at there. Much darker than the rest of the comet. But thinking of it as this is the back and this is the front, and the comet is moving this way, right? That's the direction. I'll show you a couple of other images to point that out. Then what he's saying makes a lot of sense. Let's take a look at a couple of other things. Now, this was the image that I first showed everyone. We did a video about it. It was on space weather. And it makes more sense understanding that the direction it's going in. I said at that time that I thought there was at least 3 objects visible. This is an extreme close-up, run through some filters to just pull out the very minimum of what is in there. And this was just the very center. And I think the rest of the image was maybe part of the emission from the propulsion. But again, this is the rear, and that would be, that could simply be light from the Hubble picking this thing up, because that was a still shot. But see the light emitting out the front? Because this is, everything's moving in this image to the right from the Hubble images, different from that other telescope. So is that the light that Avi Loeb is talking about? And he's continuing to say it looks more and more like some type of alien probe that, and we talked about this, it was in a retrograde orbit to where as it got close to the orbit of Earth, Mars, and Venus, if it wanted to, it could either go into a parking orbit or actually have probes that would be released, that in retrograde it would be very easy for any of that to go into parking or an orbit on any of these planets. Even if the Earth will be on the other side of the sun, but that if there was an object like that, if there was probes that were put into the inner universe, the inner solar system, excuse me, then that would be the way to do it, and that's what he's talking about. And again, we would be on the other side, but they would put that probe into the Earth's orbit to where it would finally intersect it. That's the way stereo A and B satellites work. They move. Sometimes they're very far and away from Earth. Sometimes they're very close. But with whatever this is, we don't know yet. But it still has not created a tail. Now, another image I want to show you. I'm not going to make it long and drawn out. I've just heard a lot about it lately, and thought maybe we should do an update. Now, back on July 21st, just over a month ago, this was taken by Hubble of 3I Atlas. And it's got some information here, and it appears that it's going in this direction, right? But it's not. It's going in this direction. That's key to what we're looking at. And if you notice right here, it says north, east, and towards the sun. If it was a tail and the sun is in this direction, Avi Loeb's pointing it out, and we've seen it on too many comets. If the sun's here, the tail's going to be blowing out this way, guys. So again, this is a still shot from Hubble, not a moving picture. So it would not have the illusion of light smear because of multiple exposures, right? And it is going in the direction that the light's shining. Never seen it before, don't know what it is, but it is unusual. Now, it has increased in forward speed as far as the information I've gotten. And I don't know if that's gravitational acceleration, because at first they were saying it had a non-gravitational acceleration. It was staying steady as it crossed Jupiter's orbit. And usually when they get closer to the sun or inside the inner solar system, they speed up. Well, it has sped up, but it's not pointing again at the sun. And I don't know if it's a reaction from the sun, but if it's, it's going to be out near the orbit of Mars, coming through there as far as the close approach, and then speed back out of the universe according to the projected path. Then, again, it's hard to say what it is, but it appears to not be a comet. To me, it looks like it's 3 objects. And again, they're not going to have headlights, guys. That would be pretty useless, I think. What are you going to run into if it's that close? A headlight's not going to help you in space, right? Now, again, this came from that blue Hubble image that we had the directions on, the north-south and the direction of the sun that we just looked at. But guys, we don't know what it is yet, but remember, on this image, everything's moving in this direction. That's key. That was a big thing that was talked about, and when we look at all the information, I have to agree 100%. I've always said I don't think it's a comet. I still don't think it is. It would have started spouting a tail. And why, if it's an asteroid like Oumuamua, then why is it glowing like that? Asteroids don't do that. They'll have some reflection as they rotate. I've seen them on the space X-rays and radars, and they will, as they rotate, you can see certain shiny areas or edges reflect back into the image, but that's not what we're seeing here. So it's not a comet. What is it? That's a big question. Anyway, guys, we're watching it. I keep an eye on it a lot. If there's nothing new to report, I'm not going to stay on it. It's not supposed to affect our planet, and that more than likely it won't. But I want to know what it is. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe.